What's going on, guys? This is Andre from Liquid Media, and today I'm going to explain you how to create compelling content that your audience on social media will love. Now, many mistakes that business owners do is to put out content that their audience actually not interested in. And this framework is going to show you how to come up with engaging content. So whenever you want to post something on social media, you should keep this framework in mind. And this framework is called VRIN. VRIN is an acronym that stands for value, rarity, inimitable, non-substitutable. So whenever you post, you should have all four of these factors in your content. So the first example would be value. Perhaps you're a restaurant or a plumber, a landscaper of doctor's office. You have to ask yourself, what do customers value about my products or services? So if you're a restaurant, for instance, that specializes and sources local food from local suppliers, everything is cooked fresh on site and you have no frozen food, for instance, right? This could be something that your customers value a lot. So make sure to create a lot of content around that. Maybe showing photos of local suppliers that you go to, or showing how you cook everything behind the scenes. Make sure you create a lot of content that explains the story of why customers value a specific thing about you and your business. And then you're gonna have to see on a scale from 1 to 10, okay, how valuable is this content for my audience? And then you can always give it a rank from 1 to 10 and understand how valuable it is. So obviously 0 is going to be low and 10 is going to be very valuable. R stands for rare. So how rare is this content? Has anyone else on social media posted similar content already? Or has any one of your competitors already posted something similar? Going back to the example of the restaurant, right? Obviously, a lot of people post images of finished food, and this is an example that all the restaurants do, right? You actually want to go deeper and post something that no one else of your competitors have done. So instead of posting a photo of the ready food, why don't you post a photo of the suppliers where the food is actually being sourced? Whenever you go and meet your suppliers, make sure you take photos of their establishment and post that to show your people, this is the story about our restaurant. We actually go and source from local suppliers and don't buy everything in bulk, for instance. Or if you have a, let's say, beautician example, right? Don't post images that show the ready results of the beauty treatments that your customers have done. Try to post an extremely rare before and after photo in order to show the transformation that has been taking place. And once you have this content in mind, score it again from 1 to 10 and think, how rare could this be on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 is obviously very low. Everybody's posted that on social media already. A 5, it's like, everybody's doing it. But from 7 to 10, that's where you want to be, because that's going to be a higher VRIN score. If you have a high score and your post is very inimitable, then it means that no one else of your competitors can actually top you. So coming back to the example of a restaurant, you could say that you have, 50 years experience in business, or that your family has been running this business for 4 generations or something. If you have a beauty salon, you could say that you've been awarded by several entities in the nation, and you have specific qualifications that only you can make for giving specific treatments. If you have specific patents, right, if you're using specific machinery that no one else is using, then your posts are going to be inimitable, right? Because it's only you that makes it. And once again, you have to look at score this content, how inimitable it is on a scale from 1 to 10. Once again, 1 is very low, so anybody could do it, but 7 to 10 is something fairly special that nobody else could do. The last letter N stands for non-substitutable. So whenever you create content, make sure you always say why your product or services cannot be replaced from anyone else. Example of the restaurant, right? If you're specialized, for instance, in vegan food, you have to think about how to communicate in your content that you cannot live without buying or eating this food from this specific restaurant, because you cannot replace it with anything else, obviously, because vegan people would not eat any other food. If you're a dentist, for instance, you could post statistics saying that, 55% of the people that have good teeth are more likely to be hired for a job because the first impression count, right? So you would go and create a lot of content explaining, backed up by figures, why people really need your service and they cannot live without it. So what you do now is, when you've thought of all these 4 components in your framework, you want to give it a score from 1 to 10 and then sum them up. And I've prepared the little spreadsheet here, okay, for you to punch in the numbers and calculate straight away if the content that you're going to publish is compelling enough for the audience or not. And you can use this spreadsheet straight away. So let's jump straight into it and show it on the monitor how this all works. Okay guys, so here we are inside the spreadsheet and the calculator that I've set up in order to make you understand how you will achieve a high VRIN score. If you want to use it yourself, you will have to go under File, Make a Copy in order to copy into Google Drive if you sign up with Google Drive. Otherwise, you're going to download that as a spreadsheet in Excel and you can start to edit the document. Right, so what you will do is you will start here putting the post description you want to have. For instance, it's, coming back to the restaurant example, posting a photo of how your food is sourced all locally. And you're going to start putting values here from 1 to 10, 1 being low and 10 being the highest, obviously. And whenever you put a value here, ask yourself, what is your value proposition? What do your customers value about your business? So do they value a lot that you source local food? Are you providing a lot of value in this post? It's another good question that you can make. So you can put a 7 there. Then the next step would be to ask yourself, how rare is your content? Has any of the competitors posted similar content before? Is there something standing out in this post, as we said, before and after images or interesting story about your customers? Okay, and then you will decide to put a score here according to the one that you allocate. So let's say this is going to be an 8. How easily could this content be recreated by another competitor? If you have some special qualifications or something that is inimitable for the client to replicate, then put a higher score here as well. If there's no other restaurant in town that provides this type of food, okay, this would be a high score. This would be an 8. Non-substitutable means how can you show your customers that your products or services cannot be replaced by anyone else, right? How can you tell them that this is the only restaurant that sources the food as you want it? So you're going to give a score here as well. So let's say this is a 9. So what's going to happen then? All the scores are going to be added up and divided by 4, and this is the VRIN score you're going to get. So obviously, a low VRIN score is going to be from 0 to 5. An average VRIN score is going to be 6, and high VRIN score is going to be 7 to 10. So you always want to make sure you're in the 7 or in the 10. Now, obviously, it's hard to always find content that is super compelling, but at least make sure that one of this number here is always above 7. Okay, so go ahead, try to put up some post ideas yourself and see how this will actually impact your business, and see if you're going to be noticing more engagements from posts that have a high VRIN score. Make sure you always post content with a high VRIN score, and you can be sure that your audience will love the things that you will post. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers.